All right, well, talk of the town definitely has been Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding. Two people that, realistically speaking, are at the very top 0.10% of humanity or whatever it is. And for some reason, we have to care about their wedding in Venice with all these stars, all these people. Now, anybody who knows anything about me knows the way I feel about rich people and people at the very top echelons of society. And I don't really overly mind Jeff Bezos. I think he's a funny guy. He created a service and became a billionaire, trillionaire, whatever it is. He's not that bad of a guy, honestly. He's kind of funny. He's kind of quirky. He's like he's like a Mark Zuckerberg type caricature from our world, and his wife is obviously like the poster bride of wealth and fame. Probably 90-80% microplastics. And there's really nothing wrong with these two. Now, you'll remember that Jeff Bezos' first uh, lady friend who he's married to was married during his time coming up in Amazon, and then he just ditched her for a more of a doll, so to speak. But why should we care, honestly? Why should we care about these two people? We're never gonna get money from them. We're never going to become, they're never gonna care that we even exist. Why? Why care? Why care about these two? Why have all these headlines, all these tabloids? Maybe because beings just have an obsession with this level of decadence and debauchery. Jerry Seinfeld is at the wedding. So you gotta wonder why these people come to these weddings. Like, do they get paid for it? Do they get, are they on the top echelons of society where they're somewhat signed into coming to their, are they part of some secret big cabal that they all kind of, look out for each other? These people at the 0.0001% of humanity or whatever, 0.00000001%. Who knows? Who cares? But it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Bezos' super wedding. You got fucking Oprah there, and it's just this weirdness. I don't have anything against Bezos. He's kind of a funky individual. He's kind of funny. He's kind of a memeable human being. So in many ways, Bezos, there's nothing inherently wrong with him. And he's clearly got some okayish friends. I mean, for Orlando Bloom to show up there, he's got to have something going. Now, you may remember that Orlando Bloom recently divorced Katy Perry. I forgot they were even married. Now, I don't give a flying fuck about Katy Perry. Who gives a shit about her, honestly? But my dear Legolas, for you to have a broken heart pains me. So I hope that, you know, he made out with lots of hot bridesmaids there and celebrities, and I wish all the best for Orlando Bloom. And the fact that him and Jerry Seinfeld are there means that, there's at least some good people in the world. They're willing to stand with Bezos, so you really can't fault Bezos. He's just a funny, quirky, richer than sin human being, and you know, good on him to try and enjoy the life. He obviously wanted more of a, you know, dull bride, because he's certainly into a complex, that's for sure, with this Lauren Sanchez. Now, some people really hated him. Look at some of this stuff. This is crazy. This just speaks to this disdain human beings have for uh just for rich people. Some people just hate rich people more than anything. Rightfully so. I mean, rich people are the kind of the scapegoats for a greater problem in our societies. Look at those people. Look at these probably fairly upper class human beings that's floating by. That's gold. That's a picture worth 1,000 words there, isn't it? Oh man, that's funny. Celebrities and protesters. So I mean, there are just literally people fucking protesting everywhere in there. God, that's funny. Hilarious. Venice is divided. No spice for Bezos. No space for Bezos. Oh, okay, they're doing that. They're doing that fucking you know anger and towards him. The lavish wedding party of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and TV presenter Lauren Sanchez. Yeah, I'm sure being a TV presenter is what got her to now more money than anyone could ever need in their entire life times a billion. Stars descended for the wedding. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you get all of those. Not only just the stars, but the upper echelons of society. Dubbed it the wedding of the year. Leo. Leo's there. Well, it's no freak off. I God love Leo. And Kim Kardashian's ass was there as well. Cuttlefish banquets. You really gotta wonder is like once they have all that they could ever need in life, are they really satisfied? Probably a good amount of them. But fears of Venice becoming a tourist playground forcing locals out of town is no exaggeration. Just down from the radio station, please check visitors at random for mandatory day passes. Yeah, I mean, you gotta hand it. That doesn't happen as much as you would think in today's world. How much does it take for someone to just be a crazed anti-rich to break up the wedding, so to speak, in not so many words. But everything looks like it went swimmingly. Look at this guy. This guy probably lives off 5 tomatoes a week. He's being evicted from his Venice home, but still finds the wedding positive for the city. There's such a configuration of human beings on this earth that is just like it's wild. You take the lowest, poorest class person in India and you compare him to Mr. Bezos running around in his opulence. She's older, isn't she? Look at that picture. You can tell she's a little older. He didn't go for someone younger. Let's look in Lauren Sanchez's fuzz. Now, I don't particularly think she's unbelievably unattractive. She's pretty good looking. She's great for his age, and they're perfect together. But she's got some age. She's got some age to her, doesn't she? Look at this picture. Look at her arm there. She's definitely got some age to her. Maybe she's just a wholesome person ish. They've had a lot of plastic surgery, and maybe Basil is into that. She certainly has a complex, isn't she? Maybe Bezos is not the horrible billionaire asshole everybody makes him out to be. Maybe he just truly did find true love. Maybe there's such a thing at that level of people. She's got kids from an ex-husband. Like, I mean, he could have picked, you know what I mean? Like, he could have picked any 24-year-old supermodel, anyone. I mean, obviously, there's levels of what people would go for. You couldn't just probably swoop into any town in Midtown USA or whatever and pick him up. You want someone kind of they tend to flock for upper class people, maybe just because they just want to screen someone for for being the right fit, but Lauren Sanchez doesn't seem like she's necessarily that terrible of a person. I mean, she's definitely got some work done, but I mean, she's a mid tier. I would say she's about an 8.8 out of 10. I would say. And not really knowing her parents. No, I mean, she always looks very bubbly, very full of life. She's not necessarily super young. So Bezos, he did something for himself. He really did. He really went for someone who clearly he wanted someone somewhat close to his age. Definitely has had plastic surgery. He's definitely got a complex. She seems very affectionate towards him. And it's a case of, yeah, let's hate the rich, let's eat the rich, let's all say that. But he's he doesn't really seem like that's the case here. I mean, in many ways, it seems like Bezos is a little bit normal. Dare I say? Dare I say? He you want to go for someone who, obviously everybody in the world's gonna be jealous of him, but he picked an older woman. She seems slightly down to earth. He seems kind of a little bit quirky and funny. He's just living his life and being happy. And maybe there is more to that side of life than we realize. Maybe he's not just this evil billionaire, you know, dating 23-year-old, escorts and what I mean? Like maybe he just wanted to be happy with someone he loved. So yeah, I mean definitely people are going to be after him for being rich. But there's a side of Bezos I feel he's he's not overly terrible. He's kind of funny. He kind of seems like the type of person, a type of billionaire. Now I'm certain there's tons of rich people who would just be fucking miserable pieces of shit, but he seems like he's the type of billionaire or he seems like he's the type of rich person who actually wouldn't be that bad. And Lauren Sanchez too doesn't seem like she's overly horrid, and this is her Wikipedia. Let's see. She was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Aviation business. Yeah, so I mean business, rich people, mayor. Yeah, she's in that upper class echelon of society. Yeah, compared to some of those other people who went up in space like Bezos, she's definitely not like the worst of all of them. She just doesn't seem that bad. In Fight Club? There's no way. No way. She was in Fight Club? You learn something new every fucking goddamn day, don't you? 1999. Lauren Sanchez Fight Club. Oh my god. There she is. She is in Fight Club. Yeah, so she's older. She's older. Let's see. Yeah, she's definitely older. Look at that older video. She is definitely older. 55 years old. I mean that yeah, so I mean that's not overly different in size and scope. So I don't know. You have this situation where clearly these are like the richest people on Earth, but it's not an overly terrible story. it's easy to say that billionaires are horrible and rich people are terrible and all those, and yes, many of them are. Basically, most of them are. But to me, I don't know. Bezos doesn't. He doesn't seem like that bad of a dude. He's kind of a meme, you know. And the fact that he went for an older woman and had this extravagant Venice wedding. I mean, he could have just gotten married and not made it that big of a deal, and I don't know. It's just one of those situations where you feel like, yeah, it's easy to hate on rich people, but Bezos isn't that bad. He formed probably one of the most evil empire businesses ever with Amazon, and how people are treated in their warehouses, and how it basically has destroyed so many businesses. It'd be impossible to count it. But with friends like Orlando Bloom and Lauren Sanchez being in Fight Club, it's not that bad of a story, honestly. It really isn't. Anti-Bezos campaign. Kisses, yes. Bezos, no. Your power is only abuse. Yeah, I don't know. More tax, the billionaires. You can't really fault Bezos. It's the system that's broken. You can't rent Venice. There was some person willing to sell Venice. How can you hate on Bezos when there's people who are willing to, it, blame the people who rented it out to it, you know? Uh, Blame the people who are willing to say, "Oh yeah, Bezos, there you go. Have the whole fucking Venice city to yourself." How can you fault people for being greedy? Bezos just took advantage of a greedy world. Wouldn't everybody else do the same? So yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Bezos doesn't necessarily seem like that terrible of a human being, even though I'm sure many people would disagree with me. He formed kind of a shady business that definitely exploited the world for everything it's worth. But for a guy who could have gotten any single woman he could have wanted, Lauren Sanchez she doesn't seem like she's that awful of a human being. And that really is saying something, honestly. I'm surprised Trump wasn't there. Yeah, see, like he works out. He's kind of got this quirky thing about Bezos. Really, he does. Of course, you got Kim Kardashian's ass out. He could have married her. It's like, what I mean? Like two billionaires like her. Now, what was her net worth before marrying Bezos? Lauren Sanchez net worth before Bezos. The internet will have this for sure. So 30 million. With a career that spans journalism, aviation, and entrepreneurship, many are intrigued by her rise to prominence, leading to further questions about her net worth. Reported to be an impressive 30 million. It's not a lot. Not compared to Bezos. Look at the Bezos net worth. Oops. Let's just go 5 years back. 180 billion. Yeah, I know. Maybe these people don't go by like a net worth things. I mean, obviously there's some physical attraction at play between these two, but I mean, Lauren Sanchez is about an 8.8. He could have easily bagged a 10. Kim Kardashian, I would say she's close to a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 body. But her personality probably brings that down to a 7 for sure, because she's just a nasty bitch that gets with fucking anything and anyone in opulent worlds. But yeah, I don't know. There seems that you can almost sometimes see into people's souls just by just by seeing them and visually and how they conduct themselves. And it's supremely easy to just hate Bezos for himself, but Lauren Sanchez isn't the most attractive woman in the entire world, and she's kind of older, kind of his age, seemingly down to earth ish. Bezos not a bad guy. He is not a bad guy. I would imagine. It's easy enough to call billionaires terrible and evil, but there seems to be a spark of hope in there somewhere. Of that, he came up with a really good business idea. He worked really hard at it. He probably became a lot richer than he ever dreamed of, but at the same time, there seems to be a shred of humanity in Bezos, and easy for people to absolutely hate him for what he does and how he conducts himself, and for him being as successful as he is. But like I said, I sense there being more to Bezos than meets the eye. He seems like he's just a guy who's kind of kooky, kind of quirky. And when he was on the hunt for, obviously after he divorced his first wife or whatever, whenever they had problems together, he just wanted someone kind of like him. Huh. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I would say Bezos is not overly horrible human being, which is, good to know. On the flip side, we have Elon Musk, who's like a fucking amazing person. Seeing him and Mark Zuckerberg is the same. Like, he's in the same camp. It's like, he's just a guy. It's like, there's so many worse examples of people out there that are millionaires. They're just awful. And I don't know. He kind of feels like he's just that uncle dad guy who occasionally drinks a beer at and is kind of successful and owns a boat. He just gives off that vibe, and realistically speaking, you can't think that Bezos is the worst person imaginable. There's certainly worse out there.